All right. Hey, Jason, thanks so much for joining me today. I appreciate it.
I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, cool. So I'm Charis, and I'm not sure if you knew how to pronounce my name, so I wanted to tell you real quick. And yeah, thanks for doing Kyle and Anthony's podcast too. That was really cool to hear about like your wrestling journey. So I appreciate that too.
My little alter ego. It was,
Yeah.
those guys are great.
Yeah. Yeah, they really like interviewing people. So, yeah, they had fun. They said that your episode was like doing the best out of all of the episodes. So, that's always good, right?
I mean, come on now. Of course, it's
Of
gonna be
course.
the best.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
Of course. So, okay, so my podcast, I don't know if you listen to it at all, but it's mostly just about like TV shows and Real Housewives and all sorts of like
Am I in that
mostly
category? Oh
yes.
man.
Well, I
How do I
think
go from wrestling to Real Housewives is what I want to know, but I'll take it. I'll take it.
well, I would think that more Real Housewives fans would watch Married at First Sight before they'd watch
Yeah.
wrestling.
So much WWE Raw. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd imagine so. Although it's pretty much the same thing, you know. It's them beating each other up and going crazy.
Yeah, that is so funny that you say that because I've even said that to Kyle a few times. Like Housewives is just like wrestling, like they're exactly the same because they're except for the good thing about being a house or the good thing about being a wrestler is that you go home and you can just be like a normal person. Housewives, that's really who they are for the most part, and they have to like still be themselves everywhere they go. Like most wrestlers have like costumes or they look a little bit different than they do just every day on the street.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I still think it's pretty much the same thing. It's just a bunch of like, again, with reality television, especially again, I don't know, Real Housewives I think is about as much scripted as pro wrestling. So again, it's kind of the same avenue.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I can totally see that. So, okay, so I did want to know cuz this show, Married at First Sight, I had never watched it before, and one of my best friends here in Waco told me about it and she told me to watch it, and she was like, I applied to be on this show cuz she really wanted to be on it, but she didn't get picked. But she was like, I applied to be on this show, and I was like, is this even a real thing? What is this show? And so then I watched your season on Hulu, and I watched it in like 2 days. I just binged it all, and I haven't watched any more since then. Um, but anyways, I just thought it was just crazy that you guys were just marrying this random person. But then again, I was like, it's not really so random because they did do like all of these tests and stuff. So maybe that was helpful. So tell me like your experience. And I know you told Kyle and Anthony a little bit, but tell us like your experience and like how like I want to know how the testing was and if it was really like as good as they said it was on TV.
So you're gonna get the deeper version of the Carrion Anthony. When you're gonna get
Yeah.
the straight, the long story. So
Yeah.
yeah, the testing was really like I'll never forget it. Like they gave me these like worksheets on the computer, and legitimately I gotta say maybe like 1,000 questions on it. Just like it was to the point where because I've taken tests for like for the police department, for the fire department, like psychological tests and everything, and it was on par with the psychological tests that they give you in order to see if you're crazy or to like to see what you want. Like they'll repeatedly ask you like the same question, like they'll have a bunch of questions and then they'll like add a question, which is like one you answered kind of similar before to kind of see if you're like on the same, like, all right, you're just saying it to say it, or you're saying it because like you mean it.
Yeah.
So a lot of the testing was like that. It was, again, I don't know the testing today because I know they changed the experts.
Yeah.
But when I took that test, it was like this is miserable. Like, how many times are they going to ask you the same question? It was kind of like that, but it was very, very, very authentic, very in depth.
Okay. So something I noticed too was that one couple, not the two that like you and the other one that got married, the other couple that didn't get married, or they got a divorce. I mean, that couple, like you could tell that they like did not tell the truth on their questionnaire because they were not a good match.
What was
So
Vaughn and Monet?
yes, yes.
Yeah,
So
they were just kind of like polar opposites in that aspect of like
yeah.
personality wise. Like they just didn't kind of click together. Definitely not.
Yeah, I think that she chose things about herself that she wished were true, but they weren't.
I mean,
So,
I think we, because I'm close. I would get closer more than with Monet than obviously Vaughn and whatnot. But I haven't spoken to Vaughn in years. But we actually went on a trip together last year to when we go on a cruise. Me, Monet, and a couple other guys and girls from Married at First. Like Monet is awesome. And like she's pretty authentic. You see what you see is what you get. Like she is not shy. She will just tell you how it is. And I think Vaughn is very kind of like a step back, like I don't know. Again, personalities like it should have worked on. Sometimes things will work out on paper, but when you get somebody in front of you, it's just different. It just doesn't work out that way. And I think that's what happened.
yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. So, everyone, I always look at your Instagram all the time now that we're friends. And I everyone's always commenting and asking you about your personal life with Courtney, and they want to know like every little detail about your life, and I'm sure that that gets really annoying really quick. But I did have a couple of friends that has they were like they've seen the season, and they said that you were like their favorite one on there, and they really want to know like how life is with Courtney, or if you can reveal any of that stuff to me. So I guess just tell whatever you feel is appropriate.
Yeah, I mean, we signed up for it. I mean, we put our lives like most people put. Again, I don't feel like, oh man, this person's asking this. It's like if they watch the show, we pretty much put everything out there to see. Yeah. So like people are gonna follow our journey and follow and see where we are. So people are like, oh, wait. I mean, it does get a little annoying when they're asking you for the thousands of times. So when are you gonna have babies? Yeah. Where's the baby? So that can get a little bit old. Like, oh, you're not wearing your ring? They're divorced. They're gone. Like, no, I just don't wear my ring because I'm always in the fire department. Like a lot of times, like the rings, because when we're at a job or a job like a fire or something, the ring will actually swell up on my hand. So if you can't take it off, they actually have to cut. You know what I mean? You cut the ring off or whatever. So I often don't wear my ring, but a lot of people automatically think, oh, well, he's not wearing his ring. He's getting a divorce. Why is he not? So it's like people are going to speculate, but that's just the nature of the beast when it comes down to people following your relationships. But again, we've been together for almost, I mean, it's on Hulu, but that I think it aired in 2015, I believe. But we've been together almost 4.5 years since March 2014. So it's been quite some time. It hasn't been like 2 years or 3 years. It's been we've been close to 5 years.
Yeah, that's really cool. I've seen that she's been traveling a lot. So I know on the show you talked a lot about like y'all schedules didn't match up. So I feel like that's kind of still going on just because y'all are both kind of so public still on Instagram, and a lot of people kind of know like, okay, she's over here and he's over here. And so how do y'all make that work? Like always having just different schedules and traveling and everything.
Yeah, honestly, it's incredibly difficult. Like, to go up and back, and from North Carolina to New York or whatnot, we're trying our best to figure things out. It's not easy because we both have very conflicting schedules, and if you look even in our past track record, scheduling and finding time for one another has always been one of our hardest issues. And we'll always love each other and care about each other, and it's one of those things where we're always gonna try to figure something out in order to spend time with each other, spend time together.
Yeah. Yeah. So I saw that she was like doing a lot of makeup and like styling shoots. Is she still doing that stuff?
Yeah, she does that off and on. Like she was big into like getting in the makeup unit and everything like that. And like her goals, and as well as my goals, sometimes they change. And she does that every so often and whatnot. She at the same time has a job and is doing that too. So she's doing very well.
Yeah, that's good. So tell me how it is. Like, do you have any crazy like firefighter stories or like near death experiences?
Oh man. I've seen a couple of crazy things. Like nothing ever beats going into a burning. Like I would say burning building, but like again, where I work across the street from the World Trade Center. So
Oh, okay.
that area has all big commercial high-rise buildings. So when people think firemen, they think of going into a home like an apartment or like a small house. Like we go, my firehouse, we go into like these big giant high-rise buildings. So that's a different beast. That's a different animal. And those get incredibly hot. Not taking anything away from other, going into homes or anything. It's just as dangerous, if not even worse. But it's just a different way to fight a fire is when you go into these high-rise buildings. And it gets real hot, and it's scary because sometimes you don't know, like these giant penthouse buildings and these rooms keep on going, like you don't know where it ends, and it's like you can get lost, and it's pretty scary. But I've seen some pretty crazy stuff in my past. Like the Second Avenue explosion was something out of a Hollywood movie. Basically, it was a gas explosion, and you could see the flames, and all of a sudden it blew up, and see guys bailing out, and I'm like, this is insane. Like, what am I watching? Because we were about to go in, and we ended up like not going in, and it just flames everywhere, and it was nothing like I've ever seen before. It was like a Die Hard movie, and guys were like jumping on the ladder. I'm like, what is going on? Like, this is insane. Like, I couldn't believe it. But yeah, it's but like a good story I can give you is one of my favorite. This actually happened on the fire department when I was in EMS, because I was a EMT for the fire department. But before I was a firefighter, I actually delivered a baby in a subway station.
Oh, geez.
Which was the scariest and most, it wasn't looking back on it, it was an amazing thing that I did. But at the time, it was the scariest. It was during rush hour, and it was the messiest.
Oh my God.
If anybody had to deliver a baby, it's not like, oh yeah, everything is, no, it's very messy. And that was what a time that was.
So yeah, that is crazy. I watched that. Have you ever watched that show 911?
Yes.
On Fox?
Yes.
Yeah, that show. I've watched like 2 episodes of it, but it was like, it makes your heart just like come out of your chest, or it makes my heart feel like it's coming out of my chest. It seems. So when you said that about the baby, I'm like, it sounds like something that would be on that show.
I mean, like if I could have got that like in tape, like if it is in my head, it would have been like all over the place, like unbelievable. But
yeah, that's nuts. You should try to sell your story to Ryan Murphy and make some money off of that.
I should, right?
Yeah, get him to follow you around.
Right? That'd be nice.
Get him to follow you around for a little while so he can write the next season.
I'll have my own story. I love it.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, so let's see. What other questions do I have? Okay, so I know I've been asking you a lot about your show and everything, but like, what TV shows besides wrestling do you like to watch?
Oh no, I'm big on like the Netflix like mystery, like the 12, like the killer, like all those like documentaries where they find the killer, like Forensic Files. Like I'm a big forensic, like, oh yeah, well, there was another show, it was on like Icarus, like all that kind of like in-depth like documentaries I'm big into. Even the 911 show you were talking about, like that show on A&E where they had like the EMTs, I forget what it was called. It was like they would follow them around. I'm big on that, but big on like real life stuff, and also like the Breaking Bads and the whole Sons of Anarchy type deal, of course.
Yeah. I love Breaking Bad. That's one of my favorite shows ever.
Amazing.
So if you like those kind of like documentaries, have you watched what was it, Making a Murderer? Did you watch that one?
Yes. That was incredible. That was like awesome.
It's really good. And then The Staircase, that's a pretty new one. Have you seen that one?
I don't think I have. There was one with the guy where he had like the machine on his head and it closed it. Did you see that one? I forget what that one was called. And he robbed the bank.
Oh, Evil Genius? Was that it?
Oh, that was so good.
Yeah.
That was awesome. That was like, how is that not a movie right now? Like, how did they not make that like a feature film? That's like something that like the movie, like, like between like Saw and like, a motion picture. Like how do you make that up?
Yeah, I couldn't believe that they showed on the documentary like that dude's head getting blown off.
Courtney's like, I don't want to watch this. Turn this off. Turn this off. We were like waiting for it. They're not going to show it. Then boom. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I can't believe we're just so murder alive.
Yeah, that was so awful. That I didn't finish. My husband actually, he just started watching it without me. So I have like a few episodes I need to watch. But that lady was crazy for sure.
Oh, you got to see it. It's awesome. Awesome show.
Yeah, and we just watched The Sinner. Have you watched that?
No, I'm looking at that. I might make that my next show. How is it?
It is so good. It's only 8 episodes, so you can watch. We watched it like in 2 days, but it is really good, and it has Jessica Biel. But I didn't know she was this good of an actress, honestly. But she's really good in it, and it is one of those shows that it's like. It shows you like what happens, like what she does. And then the whole time she's like trying to remember why she did it. So it kind of like goes back and forth, like back in time and then present day. But it's really good. She was nominated for an Emmy. So she did really good on that show. Yeah. I mean, I didn't like her in Seventh Heaven. I used to not like her, but she did good.
That's old school. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
A lot of people be like, oh, what's that show? Like, I gotta remember the theme song. Very big on the themes, like Seven, something like that. I'm getting out of my 90s. It was late 90s. Late 90s.
Yeah, it was probably
2000s.
It was probably like really early 2000s too, because I think I watched it in high school, so it had to have been like early 2000s.
Yeah, whole Varsity Blues and you know, that kind of era.
Yeah, it had to have been around that time. Yeah. But anyways, it was a bad show. Jessica Biel was so bad in that show. I remember like she left and she like totally screwed them over. They had to pretty much pretend like she had moved away or something.
Yeah. Why I remember that? I don't know. I don't know if I should be proud of remembering that, but I do remember them replacing her. Like, where's Jessica Biel? Yeah. She's one of the bigger and better things, you know. Her and Justin, you know.
Yeah. Well, she definitely got the best husband ever out of the deal. So I guess she's pretty lucky.
That means, I would say so.
So okay. So you said you like Breaking Bad. Any other do you like any comedy shows?
I kind of like Curb Your Enthusiasm. I'm big on Curb Your Enthusiasm, guys. Seinfeld was like one of my favorite shows. So.
My poster?
Oh wow, that's
yeah.
You know, I was wondering what that poster was, and I swear that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I really do. Like I'll watch back like the old episodes and everything. I'm like, I love that show. That's just like one of my shows that I just consistently could watch all the time.
Yeah, it's
that's
really
crazy
good.
That you had to pull that.
Yeah, my aunt gave me that poster.
Because I was like looking, I'm like, what is that? I'm like, is that like was that a Die Hard? Like, I don't know why I thought it was like a Die Hard movie poster.
It's like
we should have a Die Hard movie poster. Like, oh, it's terrible.
I think it's from like the 3rd or 4th season, but it's like a bunch of Larrys in on a street. But it's like he's wearing like women's clothes and yeah, it's a pretty cool poster. I love that one.
Love that show.
Yeah, I would love to meet Larry David. That's one of my all-time dreams. Maybe one day.
Oh. I feel like if I meet him, it would just be like, it'd be awkward. Like, hey, like it'd be like the episode.
Yeah.
Like everything would just be kind of awkward. Be like, hey, how's it going? So you got married, huh? I'd be like, just like, yeah, you get married to a stranger. That's weird. Or just like something weird happened. Like it just.
Yeah, you would have more of a chance of meeting him than I would, though. So if you ever meet him, you have to let me know.
Podcast next.
Yeah,
I'll try to make it happen. We'll make some connections, right?
Yeah,
it'll blow up, and then you can be on yours.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, he's so cool. I would love to meet Jerry Seinfeld too, but Jerry Seinfeld is he's a whole thing to me. Like do you watch Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee? He's just like, he doesn't care about anything. He doesn't care about anything. Like, they ask him questions. He's like, why would I care about this? He just is so funny. Like, I don't know. Him and Larry are the same.
He's got like no care in the world. He's doing his thing. Like if I was him, I wouldn't care about anything either. Like he walks everywhere. He recognizes everywhere. So people like always know who he is. So I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. He really does not care. But yeah, so I want to know, On your season of Married at First Sight, it was kind of, I think, because I've looked up like who stayed married from the other seasons, and you and Courtney, and then Jamie and Doug, y'all are like two of the few couples that stayed married, right?
I think two other couples stay together. Yeah, so two more couples stay together out of 7 seasons,
Yeah.
I believe. So, yeah, I think I read something where it's like a 22% success rate,
Yeah.
which is, you know what? I think a lot of it has to do. I don't necessarily think that the people are genuine. I just think that relationships are tough.
Mm-hmm.
Marriage is tough, and when you don't know somebody, that's even tougher. So even though like on paper everything could work out, it's either you have it or you don't. And I think sometimes when people's personalities can work together, like I said, on a piece of paper and on a test, like you go to like Match.com and put all your stuff in there. You're not going to meet, like, some people meet the love of their lives and stay together forever and be like, oh my god, we have so many interests and everything. But even with interest, if you don't have the personality or you don't click or have that kind of chemistry, I think chemistry is a big thing with somebody, it's just not going to work. It happens. And like with Married at First Sight, I think it does work, but you have to make it work. And also too, it's, I don't know, it's also if you have it or you don't, be honest with you, like, but you have to try. You have to at least give it a shot. If you quit, which some people like honestly just shut down the first, like they just said, okay, well, I'm not open to anything, instead of trying to make it happen.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how it looks. Again, television is, you don't really know what goes beyond closed doors, and that's what I always say. Just because you're watching it on TV, you can make assumptions to a point, but you don't know what goes behind when those cameras are off, and the camera's not always on. So I think it's very important to say what goes on beyond the cameras is what is the authentic. Because like me and Courtney, like they didn't show us like up at night, like 2-3 in the morning, just talking, finding out who are you. Like we're just trying to find out about ourselves and like find out about each other. And again, everything beyond that, like a lot of the stuff they didn't show was how we got to know each other, how we fell in love with each other. It wasn't just like, okay, what you see on the cameras. Like when the cameras are there, they're there. So it's after like a while, then you start to like not even think about it. But that takes a long time. Like if you don't have a camera in front of you constantly, you realize it's there. So you kind of do different things. Like I'll never forget, like when like the first couple weeks, I want to say like the first month, like everything was great. Like I would have my best clothes, I would look good. But after like 4 weeks, I'm like, I don't care. You know what I mean? With a regular like shirt that I wore when I was in 8th grade. I had like a ripped t-shirt. Like, I just had, my hair was all up in the air. I was like, I just don't care anymore. Just film me. I don't care. Like, but it's you're conscious of it in the beginning. So like I said, everything out is what really counts.
Yeah, for sure. I think so. Like with Jamie and Doug, I thought it was crazy because she did not seem like she liked him at all, like for the longest time. And then they're still married and they have a baby now. So I thought that was pretty awesome. And I follow her too. And she's like really open on Instagram too. So I think it's cool that like y'all, like from the first season at least, like y'all have all been really open to telling people like about your lives and how you've carried on since the show. And I don't know, I just think it's definitely a different concept of a show, but it's definitely smarter than like Bachelorette and Bachelor in Paradise and The Bachelor. Like those shows are just nuts to me. So anyways.
Yeah. I've watched. Courtney loves to watch that. The Bachelorette. So I've sat down on the couch many a night.
Yeah.
And tuned in to see who gets the rose.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm yelling at the TV. I'm like, he doesn't like you. Like, again, it's like she's a brat.
Yeah.
Did you see what she said about you? Like, but then I'm like, all right, step back. Again, it's a little bit. It's I'm not saying it's authentic. Everyone's got feelings, but a lot of times it's hard to differentiate who's in it to really fall in love with somebody and who's in it to be a natural like that. It's a lot of people's intentions is like, okay, well, now if I get on that show, I get a spinoff, I get this amount of money, I get sponsorships, I get followers, I get all this stuff. So people do it for the wrong reasons, and then you never know who's authentic and who's not. So it's, again, the producers and whoever's doing that, which again, they're looking for, beautiful, amazing people, you know what I mean, with good backgrounds and everything. But it's hard to differentiate people that want to be in love and want to, have a relationship and can do that and like are all there and don't have other intentions, to people that, just want to have the fame. They want to have that. And they'll,
and they'll go on whatever
some
show.
People can see it, but it's kind of hard to be authentic now, because again, even regular people, that don't have, like fame or whatever the deal is, they want to show you what you want to see. So on Instagram or social media, whatever, you're going to see their best. It's going to be like that. So you start looking, you have a bad day, everybody looks like you're having a great time, but it's I'm not saying it's all phony, but it's like everyone's going to show their best. It's hard for people to show their worst, and like television and everything.
And I think that's kind of the difference between Married at First Sight and like The Bachelorette, is that Married at First Sight did show that y'all, I mean, I'm sure it didn't show everything, but I'm sure it did show like struggles that you were having with each other and like arguments and how you worked through them, things like that. Whereas Bachelorette is, it's just out to like, look how pretty Becca is today, and how these guys are just, they're so in love with her.
Oh, Ben. Yeah. Ben hooked up with 2 girls. Oh, man, he's a dog.
Yeah.
He's a dog. Oh, like listen, it's so crazy because, like, I've watched, reality television shows when it comes, like, I never got that concept of, like, I mean, I got it, but, like, he hooks up with 2 girls or 3 girls, and he's a dog, and she hooks up with a guy. Like, it's like, oh, gosh, like, but it's, like, again, if you're a genuine person, it's hard to be in a position like that and not to be like just overwhelmed by what's going on. And it's like, who's real and who's not. Like, that's why reality television, there's a blur on it, because I mean, it's entertainment, but real life sometimes can be hating, it can be boring. Like, sometimes people, they want to see, like, any reality television show or TV in general, anything, it's got to be a conflict and a resolution. It can't just be conflict, bad going on, and that's it. There's got to be some kind of resolution, whatever it is, even if it's not, happy ending. It's got to be a conclusion, and that's what it is. You can't, wrap up a television show without having, some kind of that, some kind of an end, and some kind of, something that happens. Like, oh man, like, I don't know if you're watching this season of Married at First Sight, but they're having like a conflict with one couple where, she was. Again, it's hard for me. I've been working so much, but from what I understand, like somebody's ex and somebody who's stalking an ex, and I don't know the story, but it's like wow, like it's a lot. I mean, it's and these are people's lives, and that's got to be not a good thing for somebody to go through. I mean, regardless, like if it happened or it didn't, it's like now, like, you think you have a TV show coming out. Like when the show came out and aired, I was like excited to watch it. Like some of the show we were excited to watch. Like we did the spin-offs or what, we had like a Married at First Sight like the first year, and some of the stuff was kind of heavy, like that we had to watch. And that was like, oh, my wife actually at the time didn't even want to watch it. She's like, I'm not even gonna watch it anymore.
Yeah.
A lot of it's hard to watch. It's hard to look at yourself sometimes, and it's hard to, again, reality TV is sometimes they blur the lines between things. Like, wait, did I say that? I don't remember saying that. That kind of, but again, like you were saying, Married at First Sight is definitely one of the authentic shows. Again, it's compared to the other ones out there.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I definitely saw the difference. I used to not watch reality TV at all. And so, like, I started watching, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and then it just was like a spiral. Then I watched Real Housewives of New York, and then I watched Bachelorette and The Bachelor, and now Bachelor in Paradise, and then Married at First Sight. Like, I just was on a binge of reality TV, and then the only show I used to watch was Jersey Shore. That was my favorite show ever. I love Jersey Shore. I still love them. I think they're amazing. That is just my favorite reality show ever. But for some reason, I went on this like downward spiral, and all I wanted to do was watch reality television shows. But I will say, out of all of them, out of all of the shows, Married at First Sight is definitely like, you feel like they're like y'all are more real. And especially, I guess, too, because it's on Lifetime, it's probably not quite as like, you're probably not quite as known either. I mean, now that it's on Hulu, you're probably getting like a lot more people. But
yeah, it's a little more like when we initially got on, they didn't even say like what channel it was going to be, and ended up being on FYI, and FYI was like the old Biography Network, and it was a brand new channel, so no one knew what FYI was, but the show ended up being so popular that they ended up moving. I mean, because, you know, Ma over here. But no, and the show ended up being so popular because of the concept of like how crazy it was and the way they promoted it. And again, like I said, all the people from the first season, I'm sure, contributed because of our personalities to the success of the show. That actually went on A&E. So they're all part of the same, you know, like the FYI, A&E, Lifetime, Discovery, and the History. I think they're all part of the same blanket, like the networks. So they just, A&E said, we want this because it was so popular. So they ended up taking it and ended up using for the second season. The second season was on A&E. And then after a while, they started playing it on there. Then Lifetime ended up getting it. It's all in the same same realm of networks.
Yeah. Because A&E went more like, A&E went more like dark, and they show all those, you know, First 48, and now the like Leah Remini's documentaries on there.
48.
Yeah. So I think
Scientology, right?
Yeah. So I think like y'all's show didn't really match up with those shows that they show on A&E, which is probably why it got moved.
No, it didn't. I think Lifetime did fit for it. I think it's perfect.
Yeah. That's cool. But thank you so much. I won't keep you any longer. I know this was kind of long, but thank you so much for being on. I know that a lot of people will enjoy this interview. So then just tell everyone like how they can find you, your website, your Instagram, everything like that.
Okay, my Instagram is Brooklyn Bad, so BKLYNBAD. My Facebook is just put Jason Carrion, CARRION.
Okay.
And for my Twitter, KR0SS.
Okay. Awesome. So I also wanted to ask a wrestling question. So I know that.
Ooh.
So did you watch, number one, did you watch all of the crap that was on all weekend? SummerSlam and all that?
I'm actually catching up on it today. So after this interview, I'm going to watch the rest of it. But I did end up catching SummerSlam for sure.
Okay. I watched NXT because my husband made me. And it was so stupid. Like the last match, it was actually kind of good. And then the guy, they just like, did you see it? They like handcuffed him to that metal cage.
No, I didn't see it. That's the thing. I got to catch up on NXT. Like, I'm looking forward to it now. But you can ruin it for me. I don't care.
I don't remember who it was. I don't know their names. I have no idea what their names are. The bald guy and then the cute guy. I don't know. That's how I know them.
Okay, so
with the beard.
Ciampa, and Gargano. There you go. I think that was it, yeah.
Those guys, yeah. They apparently, my husband was telling me that they used to be friends and now they're not friends, right? See, I know a little bit.
Yeah. Just like the Desperate Housewives. Used to be friends, not friends anymore. Handcuffs are involved.
Yes.
Different weird clothing. You know, it's the same thing.
Yeah, it is. All right. Well, thank you.
One's cute, one's bald. Like, same thing.